And if that happens, if I win the Royal Rumble, that means that I will go to WrestleMania and face whoever is the Universal Champion. And Paul, I don't lay claim to being better than many people at certain things. But I'll tell you this. I'm a better fighter than Roman Reigns. And I sure as hell am a better wrestler than Roman Reigns. And if I win the Royal Rumble and face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and he's still the champion, I will beat him for that championship. Here's another thing. If he's not champion, somewhere down the line, I'm going to beat him anyways.
It's a great day on the internet, everybody. Welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We're talking wrestling, and guess what? We're going to talk about Daniel Bryan and possibly Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble, which has me excited. I'd be very, very excited, and I'd be very, very tickled, as they say, if he won the Royal Rumble. But I kind of want to do a little bit of a almost booking predictions right now. I'm all excited and watching this Talking Smack, which by the way, I'm very, very happy they brought back. Even on its own little form and little island, we don't have Renee Young there, but it's still good to see these guys get a little bit more time. Anyways, I'm really excited because I have been kind of watching this play out over the past couple of weeks and months. And as we know, Daniel Bryan is kind of in and out. He isn't here long term. His contract's going to be coming up. We know that Daniel Bryan isn't going to be here for a very long time. What I would love to see is Daniel Bryan getting built up to get into the Royal Rumble. And I really would love to see him face off against Roman Reigns for this year's WrestleMania. But I want to talk to you guys about what I think will happen and what I'd like to see and kind of where I think it will end up going down the road if all this plays out the way we kind of want to. By the way, guys, if you are new to the show, hit me up, do me a favor, subscribe to the show, hit the notification bell. We're on our way to first 1,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the content from wrestling to video games and reacts, join us here in the Assemble community. So this promo is really deliberate in my opinion. I mean, it's always a good banter back and forth and good to see Paul Heyman and Daniel Bryan going at it and letting Daniel Bryan speak a little bit. We haven't had him anything in kind of like a main storyline, story beat so far. We've seen him getting beat down. He had his match against Jey Uso on SmackDown, which was really great, and even Bryan was happy with it. And Daniel Bryan is in this place where he's trying to be able to help younger talent, other talent get over. He doesn't need it. He's already over with all of the fans. And we know what we're going to get out of a Daniel Bryan match. We know that we're going to be entertaining. We know we're going to enjoy it. On the flip side of everything, what we are seeing with Roman Reigns is, frankly, I think it's phenomenal. I think that he has been built slowly, methodically. It has gotten a lot of attention. They are paying attention to the details with Roman Reigns, from his body language to the way he works with Paul Heyman to his promos, and obviously his in-ring, adding a submission to his arsenal. All of these things are building and building and building upon each other to create this really, really awesome heel that, frankly, I think in about 2 years' time, assuming that he stays heel and they don't flip him for any reason, I think that we're going to be looking at one of the, if not the greatest heel for this generation, this new generation that we have of young fans out there, to get a really grounded heel Roman Reigns that almost nobody can topple is what we should get. Now, what I'd like to see happen off of this promo is we see more interactions between Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, more beatdowns, and I like them because we have enough time between now and the Royal Rumble. They space it out quite a bit. I want to see a couple of people get built up for the Rumble. And frankly, I thought for a minute that we would see this kind of be Big E's Royal Rumble. I don't think it is, because obviously Big E has won the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown when he beat Sami Zayn, which I think was a great moment. And it's a great way to kind of end the year. You end things on a positive note, for as a mess 2020 has been. We get Big E as Intercontinental Champion, well-deserved. And I think a lot of us had him on our list for obviously going for the singles push and getting into the Royal Rumble. What I think we would see, guys, what I'd like to see happen is Big E is obviously be in the Royal Rumble, but put on a great showcase. I think he needs to be that, that dark horse, that guy in the Rumble that does a ton of eliminations or lasts a very long time but gets eliminated. And it could be by Jey Uso, it could be by a couple of different people, Sami Zayn, whatever would set up Big E for his Mania, which we can talk at a later date. But what I like to see from Daniel Bryan is going in at number 1 or number 2 and having that Shawn Michaels Royal Rumble and winning the whole thing. And I think that we need barriers and interference for Daniel Bryan leading up to the Royal Rumble, where Roman Reigns and everybody else he gets associated with keep bringing Daniel Bryan down. Give him tag team matches. And again, to be able to make this work a little bit, Kevin Owens is still kind of around. Get Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan to work together, tag team against Roman Reigns and the family, and go in that direction, building up to the Royal Rumble. That gives everybody something to do. You don't need to have a title match. It can do everyone a lot of good. But in that Rumble, I think you need Daniel Bryan to go the distance and win the whole thing. Now that gets into obviously like who eliminates who, are there anybody on Raw that we see? But right now Raw is doing its own thing. It's got a lot of building to do. We have Drew McIntyre. We have a lot of moving pieces going around on Raw that I don't think you need to put anything over there. Roman Reigns is the hottest heel right now. He is the main heel out of all the brands. You need somebody that he can really go up against at WrestleMania, that it makes sense, that there is a backstory and a history, and that creates a sense of doubt for the fans that Roman Reigns would be defeated. I think we saw Kevin Owens get built up very well and very strong in his feud with Roman. And what I liked about it was that Roman Reigns didn't just topple Kevin Owens, that he didn't just beat him easily and cleanly. It took a lot to beat Kevin Owens. They need to do the same thing with Daniel Bryan. If he wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to the Chamber, Fastlane, whatever we end up having. But ultimately, I think we need Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns against each other one-on-one at WrestleMania. And if Vince is going to have his way, he is going to really, really push to have fans at WrestleMania for this coming year. I think he's already going to be pushing to have fans for the Royal Rumble in some capacity. So to have this giant match, they need something that's going to have a lot of build, that's going to bring fans in. With the pandemic, with ratings being down, all of these pieces, you need something very strong to be able to boost fans, to give them something that they want. And getting Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns with their history, with what we'd seen over the years. Remember, it's not that long ago where we had Roman Reigns shoved down our throats, where Vince and company was trying to get him over as the babyface. And we had the whole debacle at the Royal Rumble previously where Bryan got eliminated and literally just like tossed over the top rope like it was nothing. I think it was against Kane and Big Show. It mattered. It didn't even matter at all. This can be almost a full circle, but it's on the opposite side where we are getting Daniel Bryan, who is always over, against a red hot heel, Roman Reigns. But what I think needs to happen, guys, and let me know in the comments below, how would you like to see this scenario play out? For me, I would love to have Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I think you need to have a strong, solid Mania, but I think you also need to pay attention to the reality that they don't have sold out stadiums. We're not at that point yet. You don't get the traditional hype of a normal WrestleMania. And I don't think for this year, unless things drastically change, I don't know if we're going to get there or not. I hope we do. But I think that what we could end up seeing is not a pre-filmed Mania at all, not in a performance center. We have the Thunderdome. I think they would either dress that up or bring in or a combination of Thunderdome with live fans. They need to pack something in there to give it that Mania feel. But they can look towards with Roman for the following year's WrestleMania. This one, I want to see Daniel Bryan and Roman go up against each other. You can have an amazing story told. You can rely on their previous history together. Bryan has said in that Talking Smack that basically wants to go after Roman, whether it's for the title or not. He wants to go after him. So presuming that Roman is going to keep the title all the way to Mania, which there's zero reason why he should drop it, we could see a really strong 20-30 minute match, main event of Mania, where we get a fan favorite in Daniel Bryan and a fan favorite heel in Roman Reigns going at each other. But I think to make Roman Reigns work long term, because we're only a couple of months into this whole thing with Roman, to make Roman Reigns work long term for the company, I think you need to keep him heel for a very long time. And he needs to beat large baby faces, fan favorites like a Daniel Bryan. Don't make it easy on him. He's got to be super hard. And Bryan needs to either pass out from submission, which is probably the way I would do it, because that would keep Daniel Bryan strong. Roman keeps all his heat. He beats the fan favorite, and Roman Reigns can move on. Bryan could also come back at a later pay-per-view at, say, SummerSlam. He always would probably take time off based on his contract and his deal. So you have Bryan through Mania, maybe give him a rematch, or save that until you get to maybe SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. And Bryan could come back if he was submitted where he passed out, and he could say, I didn't lose, I passed out. And you have that Austin Bret Hart dynamic that we've seen previously. There's so much you can play off of. This is why it just gets me so excited to be able to talk about this with you guys. But I would love to see that kind of dynamic. And then you build Roman Reigns for the next year, where he has the biggest heel run of his life, where he goes to another level. You're going to be able to bring fans in. That will add more drama, more dynamic. If they can keep the scripting right, and if they can keep the storylines right and not make it goofy or anything, just keep Roman on this course and just keep feeding him these really strong opponents. Bring in some people from NXT maybe, but you need to be able to keep building and building and building. You could have Brock step in at some point, maybe for a SummerSlam, to be able to fight Roman for the title over Paul Heyman in the mix and all of that stuff. You could do that, but really where I see things, guys, is where it has been rumored as well, is The Rock versus Roman Reigns at the following year's WrestleMania. And you could do that at SummerSlam, but that is definitely a WrestleMania match. And that would probably end up being for the title if they wanted to do it right. But let Roman go through people this year. Let him go through Goldberg if it's going to be at Royal Rumble. But get to that Daniel Bryan match, get a big blow off, get a lot of heat under Roman, and then maybe move on to The Rock for the following year, where you have a packed live stadium and those two going at it. You could really have some magic. So there you go, guys. I just felt like doing a little bit of booking today. I'm excited that talking smack with Daniel Bryan got the juices flowing and got me excited for Royal Rumble and to see what's going to happen. I hope they build up a lot of people leading into the Royal Rumble and we don't just have a kind of an obvious Rumble of Daniel Bryan. It would still be awesome, but I love to see them go down this path when it comes to Rumble and Mania season. I love the work that they're doing with Roman Reigns. Let me know what you guys think. How would you book this year's Royal Rumble? Would you have Daniel Bryan go over? Who would face Roman Reigns in your eyes? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, thank you guys for assembling with us. See ya.